Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here at Earth and Sky. And those of you joining us online, we appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you for joining. Please hit the share button and the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to get our notifications as often or as little as you want, hit the star button. You can make all the choices that you want. Today we are continuing part 2 of our segment on Halloween, or All Hallows Eve, or Samhain, whatever you want to call it, the night where the veil begins to get a bit thinner between the worlds, where we can start feeling and hearing from loved ones on the other side a bit easier than we can at other times of the year. Spirit is always with us, but this time of year is when that veil starts to thin. It's sort of like if you have curtains in your house and you have those heavier weight curtains most of the time. You have them closed, you can't really see what's going on outside. You have the sheer curtains underneath, pull the heavy ones out of the way, and you can see a lot better. That's what's happening right now in the days that we've been experiencing recently, and even for a couple days after Halloween, that energy still continues. It doesn't magically just get shut really fast. It's a veil that opens and starts to close. So I hope you were able to watch last week as we talked about what tools you might want to have if you'd like to do a Halloween ritual today, celebrating the new year that we're coming into. There are several different New Year's depending on what culture and what your belief system is. We've been talking about those a little bit this last year, but this is the New Year that I celebrate. It's one of my absolute favorite holidays. We talked last week about how we were turning the wheel of the year, and fall is definitely upon us. We reached that at the fall equinox, September 22nd this year. And now we're at Samhain, the second of the harvest festivals. I didn't turn that all the way, did I? I meant to turn that. So I should turn this wheel right now a little bit more. I have it turned to fall, but it is really wonderful to follow the wheel of the year. It's a medicine wheel in a way. It's very similar to the native cultures, and you can see the webbing of life and all that we're doing within the wheel of the year. So this is the time of the harvest where we're pulling in and reaping all of the rewards for all of the hard work that we've done over the last year. This is a time to celebrate with friends, to think about what you've done over the past year, because as it is the end of the year, today is the day to really think about and maybe journal and even consider your gratitude of what you've accomplished this last year. What relationships have you built in this last year? What new things have you experienced? Where did you put your efforts? Where did you plant your seeds? Where did you sow them? All of that in this last year. And also a time to honor the dead. And also a time to think about what you want for the next new year. We'll be coming into the fullness of the planning season as we come into winter. Around December 21st is when the planning season starts, but this is where you want to start thinking about setting those goals, as November 1st is the brand new day of the new year on this type of a cycle here. So some of the things that you might want to do as you're thinking about who you would like to honor, because it is a day of the dead. It's a day to honor those that you've loved who've gone on before. Sometimes it feels like they may have felt as though they were taken too soon, or it may be that you are just wanting to honor people that you didn't even know that have died in previous decades and previous centuries. All of that, whatever you feel in your heart that you want to honor, this is the time to do that. So the first step you're going to want to do is to create an altar. If you don't already have an altar in your house, an altar is a great place to have something that you can see frequently if you want to leave it up all the time, as a reminder of the mindfulness, as a reminder of your goals, as a reminder that there is so much more to this world than just what we see in front of us. And for an altar at Samhain, you might want to add some of the things of the season, some fall leaves to remind us that everything is always changing. Every season comes and goes, and just as the spring starts to bring the new leaves that come on the trees and they grow and they come into fullness, in the summer they turn into those beautiful bright shades of reds and golds and all of the gorgeous autumn colors as the life is coming out of the leaf and going back into the tree and the leaves fall. beginning the new cycle, going back into the earth, becoming a part of the soil, which then regenerates the next life. Just a beautiful way of echoing the way our lives are always continuing, our ancestors' lives. Even when they leave us on this physical plane, they are always still there. They're continuing, waiting to start their next cycle, or perhaps they're already well into their next cycle. Everything in life has a beginning and an ending and another beginning that starts all over again. This holiday reminds us of that. So on your altar, having those beautiful autumn leaves will add some beautiful color to your altar, as well as to remind you that everything is always changing, the impermanence of everything. When you recognize that nothing is permanent, you start to be able to release and to bring in the new much easier. Change can become a little bit easier as you begin to recognize that. Beautiful autumn leaves are a great way to see that in a beautiful way, to remind us that change can be a good thing as well. So you might also want to put some acorns. If you have acorns in your backyard, or you go to your local nature center, you might find a couple of acorns on the ground. Acorns are a wonderful way to bring in prosperity and abundance, and also a sign of good luck. So those can be nice things to have as you're starting your new year. And then apples are a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing to have. One of the, probably the oldest and more sacred of the types of things that you would have on your altar. When you cut an apple, you can actually see, if you cut it in half, you can actually see a star-shaped pattern in it, reminding us of all of the elements that make up the wheel of the year. The earth, air, fire, water, spirit, all of that is embodied in the heart and the center of an apple. The apple also represents the fresh, new, crisp, new beginnings, the life that it brings, the wisdom that it brings. And so definitely recommending having that on your altar. We talked last week about having your soul cakes too. If you want to make soul cakes, that can be a great way to enjoy the tradition. You can learn more about soul cakes by watching the last episode if you haven't seen it already, but enjoying the older traditions of this holiday, as well as having something to honor your ancestors who have gone on before you. Traditionally, I will often make a plate for the ancestors of whatever the best foods are that I'm eating that day. Put those onto a plate and set that out for your ancestors. You might want to have it on the table, set at a chair for them to enjoy, or put it outside. If you put it outside, make sure it's also safe food for any animals that might come along and enjoy it in honor of your ancestors. But that can be such a great way to feel that connection and honor them, and honor any hungry ghosts that might be passing by. You can also set up photos of those that have passed on that you love. This is another great way that you can honor them and remember them. A lot of cultures will talk about the fact of somebody's spirit living longer and stronger the more we remember them, the more often we say their name and honor them. So a photo on your altar might be a perfect way to do that as well. You might put it up next to where you have their plate, as though you can see them there with their plate as well. Lots of different ways that you can get creative with each of these. And then a candle is one of the essential items for your altar. I always personally tend to use white candles because there's a purity that comes with that. There's a lot of protection that comes with that, and it's just a great color. I'm not going to do a whole class right now on why I use a white candle, but I do recommend that you use a white candle. It can be a tea light, a taper, whatever kind of that you want, a scented candle, anything. But having that white candle can be a way that you start to see your ancestors communicating with you as well. As you go more calmly within yourself and you're preparing to actually go into ritual to talk perhaps to your ancestors or to give your respects, you can light the candle and letting the ancestors know that you're lighting this for them, lighting it for them to find their way. For anybody who happens to be wandering through that needs to find their way to the light, they can do that if you set that intention within that white candle. Ask your angels to come in and surround you as you do this as well. You'll feel a tremendous energy as the angels come into the room as you begin to communicate with the spirits on the other side. Some of the other things that you might choose to have are nuts or berries. Those are wonderful things to have on the plate for your ancestors if you're setting it outside. Those are very traditional foods that provide a lot of nurturing and nourishment. And really, the berries bring in a much higher vibrating energy, while the nuts will bring in a much lower vibrating energy. So you get a lot of balance if you're using both of those as you're honoring them. And when you are preparing for this, when you feel that you have everything set the way you would like it to be, simply go within yourself and find out whatever way works best for you to let go of your thoughts, to let go of the day. You might want to put on some chanting music that inspires you, that lifts up that energy, raising the cone of power within yourself. Or you might find that you want just a gentle, classical, relaxing music to allow yourself to relax into it. You might choose to focus on your breathing if that's a way that you start to get yourself into an altered state where you can release everything else that's going on in your head. And then as you're in that state, it's up to you if you choose to do this for your ancestors and you want to communicate with them or send messages of love to them, or perhaps asking help from the assistance of beings that are in the third heaven and higher. You can do all of that throughout this as well. Or you can do that and the second idea, or you can do one or the other. It's up to you. But the second part of it would be letting go of what you need to let go of, because it's the new year. So you want to figure out, what are you so done with that you're ready for it to just clear, release, get out of your life? I imagine a lot of people still have a few things that they're really done with from this last year. So think about what those things are. And then you're going to want to have some kind of a safe dish that you can burn things in. You can do this outside with a bonfire if you'd like instead, or have some kind of a safe dish that you can burn in, and write on a piece of paper all of the things that you want to let go of, what you want to release, whether it was from this last year, or whether it's burdens that you've been holding within your soul, or whatever it is that you just really want to let go of. It can be stress, anxiety. It can be something that you're named very, very specifically. The more specific you get, sometimes the better the results are that you get from it. Because when you put words to it and you really name it, there's a lot of power that comes in that. So as you're looking at your candle and you've got the music going, or you've done some chanting, so you're in that heightened state, then go ahead and write down everything that you want to let go of. It can be one thing or 10 things or 12 things, whatever you want. And then you're going to fold the paper up however you want to fold it up. And once you feel that you're really ready to release it, think about it for a moment, meditate on it for a moment. And when you feel you're ready to release it, you're going to burn it in the fire. If you're doing it in the bonfire, just throw it in and watch what happens. If you're doing it with a candle, be careful. I don't want anybody getting hurt during this. So burn that, drop it into your fire-safe dish, and then watch how it burns. The way it burns is going to tell you a message. If it burns really, really quickly, it's ready to go. It's ready to be released. You are so done, and just know that will be released quickly. If it burns really slowly, I've seen sometimes where for people it'll go very, very slowly, and if you're in a group it can feel a little embarrassing sometimes. There's nothing to be embarrassed about it. And just know that it means it's releasing, but it's releasing slowly. It's taking time, and that works too. It will happen in the way that is best for you, the way that works, the way it's supposed to be. And so just know that you can get those little messages that way. So if you have 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 things that you're wanting to let go of, you might want to do each one on a separate piece of paper if you want to see what that message is. Doesn't matter, you can do it all at once, whatever works for you. And then after you've burned that and you've released it and you've let it go, now you're ready to go into the new year. Now you're ready to say good night to All Hallows Eve and the year of what has been a lot of 2021 on the Western calendar. And you're ready to bring in the new year. So what's the first thing everybody does with the new year? Set your goals. Think about what you want. And then so you're going to do a little bit more meditation. Feel yourself feeling lighter as the rest of it has been released. Write on a piece of paper, definitely a separate piece of paper because you burned that one, and write down whatever it is you're wanting. The more specific you can get, the better it is. You're writing a wish list to the universe of what you want. It's a love letter to yourself of what you're planning to bring into your life. So write down whatever it is you want. Again, fold that paper up and then watch how it burns, and that will bring a message to you about how that will be coming into your life in the new year. If you feel like it burns so slowly and you're so disappointed because you want it right now, then that's just a sign that you need to do some more work. Figure out what you need to do. We always have to follow it up with action steps too. Do some extra Reiki to bring clarity to yourself, to see what it is that you need to have to make that happen in the way that is best for you. It might be that it needs to take a little more time, or you might just need to do a little bit more action steps and plan for that. After you've done that ritual, it's a wonderful time to just let your mind focus on positive things. Make some kind of a warm beverage. If you're doing some kind of a special herbal tea or a spiced tea or drink, you might want to add a dash of cinnamon to it or boil some cinnamon sticks with it. That will bring in abundance, prosperity, and good things for the new year. If you want to add in some touches of clove to it, it's a great way to bring in a bit of protection throughout the new year. Orange peel will give you some zest for all the things that are coming ahead in the new year. Be creative. Think of what you're drawn to add to it. Whatever you feel like you're drawn to add into it, that is what's perfect for you. If you're not sure what it means, then you might want to look up and see what the meaning of it is, or just trust yourself that that's exactly what you're supposed to have in that drink. Enjoy the drink. Enjoy celebrating the new year that is coming ahead, and I hope that gives you some great food for thought. Happy Samhain, everybody. I wish you a fantastic week. Thank you so much.